morning, beautiful and wonderful listeners of Emirate Radio. It's another episode of the newspaper review on Emirate Radio, and Emirate Radio is located behind the Federal Ministry of Environment of Ojebarot, Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. I am Alim Absalam, and I'm going to be taking you through the top stories making routes on today's dailies, from the stories that you need to know and to those ones that you do not know that you need to know. Fresh from the press and straight to your ears. Starting from the Punch newspaper this morning, resident doctors give federal government fresh 24 hours ultimatum. Still on the Punch newspaper, federal government approves 26 trades for technical schools under revised curriculum. Don't judge ADC on by-election lose, says a spokesperson. Heading to the Daily Post newspaper this morning, insecurity comment. Politics without element of truth. Experts blast El-Rufai. Still on the Daily Post newspaper this morning, NBA calls for separation of minors from adult cells, want foster homes. Heading to the Guardian's newspaper this morning, Obasanjo calls for lasting partnership as IATF closes with $48.3 billion deal. Heading to the Nation's newspaper this morning, subsidy savings insufficient from national transformation, says Oyedele. Those are the headlines that I came in with this morning. Before I take the stories in details, I'll go on a short break, and when I'm back, I'll take the stories in details. Welcome back from that very short break. Picking from the Punch newspaper, resident doctor gives federal government fresh 24 hours ultimatum. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has issued the federal government a fresh 24 hours ultimatum to meet its outstanding demand following the expiration of its earlier 10 days deadline on September 10. The decision followed a 6 hours meeting of the association's National Executive Council held virtually yesterday. The president of NARD, Dr. Tokpe Osundara, said the association acknowledged the government's promise to address their concern, but insist on immediate action. In a commute issued on September 1st, 2025, and signed by NARD President Dr. Tokpe Osundara, General Secretary Dr. Oluwashola Odun Baku, and Publicity and Social Director Dr. Omar Amobi, the doctors demanded immediate payment of the outstanding 2025 Medical Resident Training Fund, settlement of 5 months arrears from the 25 to 35% consolidate, medical salary structure review, and other long-standing salary backlogs. Still on the Punch newspaper, federal government approves 26 trades for technical schools under revised curriculum. The Federal Ministry of Education has published the full list of 26 trade areas approved under its revised technical education curriculum. According to a statement signed yesterday by the ministry's Director of Press and Public Relations, Bon Folashade, the revised curriculum would convert all federal science and technical colleges to federal technical colleges from the 2025 to 2026 academic year. Announced by the Education Minister, Dr. Maruf Tuji Alausa, CON, and Minister of the State, Professor Shuaib Said Ahmad, the overhaul requires each college to offer a minimum of 6 and maximum of 10 trade courses. The reform also introduces citizenship and heritage studies along core science and language subjects. Still on the Punch newspaper, don't judge ADC on by-election losses, says spokesperson. The circulation-backed African Democratic Congress has urged that it should not be judged by its failure to win any seat in last month's by-election. Speaking on national television yesterday, ADC spokesperson Bolaji Abdullahi said the consent came too soon after the party's leadership transition and should not be a yardstick for its potential. The by-election held on August 16 to fill seats left vacant by death or resignation after the 2023 polls produced no win for the ADC. The Independent National Electoral Commission declared the All Progressive Congress winner of 12 out of 16 seats, with the All Progressive Grand Alliance taking 2 seats in Anambra. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, won in Oyo, and the New Nigerian People's Party won in Kano. Asked why ADC has a poor outing in the past election, Abdullahi argued the party was not electorally ready. Heading to the Daily Post newspaper this morning, politics without element of truth. Experts blast El-Rufai. A security analyst, Bulma Bakuti, has dismissed the recent claim by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai that the federal government pays ransom and provides supplies to armed group terrorizing the country. El-Rufai had alleged during an interview on national television on Sunday that government complicity was worsening insecurity in the country. But reacting during his weekly program, Brukai described the claim as politics without any element of truth. According to him, there is no law or policy that permits the government to fund or support bandits. He said ransom payments that made headlines were usually raised by victims' family or community. Brukati further explained that Nigerian security challenges were beyond battlefield strategy. He linked them instead of systematic corruption, which he described as the biggest embezzler of terrorist activity. Brukai also cautioned against making unsustainable allegations against sitting presidents, recalling that similar claims had been leveled against past head of state. Clarifying how the military operative, the analyst stressed that only the president can issue directive for military action. He said governors, ministers, and even the National Security Advisor lack such power. The chain of command, he explained, runs from the president to the chief of army staff and down to the field commander. Brutai said addressing Nigerians' insecurity will require sustained collaboration between citizens, government, and security agencies, anchored on the determined effort to curb corruption. Still on the Daily Post newspaper this morning, NBA calls for separation of minors from adult cells, wants foster homes. The Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, Umuahia branch has called for the building of foster homes in the state to ensure the minors arrested for small offenses are not kept in the same cells with notorious criminals. The NBA made the appeal in Umuahia during the Citizen Engagement Forum organized by the Abia State government in preparation for their 2026 Abia budget. Presenting his position, the Assistant Secretary of the NBA Umuahia branch, Emmanuel Okonkwo, urged the Abia State government to include the building of foster home in its 2026 budget. He cautioned that keeping underage person in the same detention room with hardened criminals may produce a situation where the minors are initiated deeper into criminality by the notorious individuals they mingle with in cell. Speaking earlier, the secretary of the NBA Umuahia branch, Ladu N. Martins, regretted that a fire disaster that happened in Ikowa local government affected the court in the area, forcing those who have cases to have their matters handled elsewhere. The NBA secretary, however, expressed delight that the High Court in Okwa West local government, which was relocated to Aba because of the diplomization, is back to Okwa after its renovation by the present Abia State government. Martins recall how those whose matter were filed in Okwa High Court previously traveled all the way to Aba to attend their matters, and said such a situation was a challenge to smooth dispensation of justice. Heading to the Guardian's newspaper this morning, Obasanjo calls for lasting partnership as IATF closes with $48.3 billion deals. Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has called for a conscious effort towards nurturing the partnership and collaboration established through the Inter-African Trade Fair, IATF. He urged African leaders to ensure that connections were transferred into concrete long-term alliance capable of delivering tangible economic outcome across the continent. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the 4th edition of the IATF held in Algiers, Algeria, Obasanjo described the fair as a crystal for deeper integration, sustained cooperation, and accelerated economic development under the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to him, the true value of the IATF lies in how well African government, investors, exhibitors, and entrepreneurs are able to build on the momentum created in Algiers. He said the relationship and network formed must not end with the event, but shows evolve in strategic partnership that addresses the continent's critical development need, ranging from industrialization and value addition to digital transformation and cross-border trade. Taking the last news on the newspaper review this morning from the Nation's newspaper, subsidy savings insufficient for national transformation, says Oyedele. Nigerian available resources are far too small to transform an economy with over 200 million people, Chairman of the Presidential Committee of Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, says. He also stated that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration tax reform have not introduced any new tax. Oyedele at one-day capacity building training on the Nigerian Tax Act 2025 for members of the State House Press Corps in Abuja pointed out the savings from fuel subsidy removal alone cannot deliver the scale of infrastructure and services required for meaningful national transformation. Even if you remove corruption and waste completely, the resources at our disposal are not enough to transform Nigeria. Subsidy saving alone cannot deliver the level of infrastructure and service required. Our fiscal space is simply too small, said the tax committee chairman. He explained that less than $50 billion combined annual budget of the federal and state government, as well as the Federal Capital Territory and the 774 local government areas in the country, are grossly inadequate for the transformation needed by the country. Oyedele, who lamented that the subsidy regime left the country's prostrate, described the demolition of toll gates and the reversal of refineries as costly misstep by the country. He also said the new tax regime, which is built to take effect from January 2026, does not amount to fresh levels. That ends the newspaper review on Emirate Radio. For more in-depth on the stories, you can always check the Punch newspaper, the Daily Post newspaper, the Guardian's newspaper, the Nation's newspaper, and our very own Royal Online newspaper. Thank you for always choosing us. Thank you for listening. I am Alima Absalam. Do well to have a wonderful day.